in Game 1. And for the Clippers, well, they won't have Kawhi Leonard again either. He's been hampered with a sprained right knee. It has his status for the series in doubt. Needless to say, the Clippers are better when Kawhi is on the floor. They're 42-21 when he plays. They're 13-10 when he's out, and they average 4 less points per game. With all that in mind, let's now bring in our NBA reporter. I'm so thrilled to get to talk to my old friend a.smith, who's joining us now live from Phoenix. And with Kawhi's sideline, what other injury concerns are the Clippers dealing with tonight in Game 2?
Well, first of all, I got to congratulate you on your Hawks. And like you talking smack to Nagandi about not feeling any panic, the Clippers aren't feeling any panic either. They've been here before. In fact, they've fallen down 2-0 in each of their first 2 series. Tonight, though, for them to not fall behind 2-0, they need Marcus Morris. I'm told that Marcus Morris is good to go, but the Clippers are going to have to see how he feels in warm-ups. Even if he's able to start, how will his knee react as this game goes on? He is vital to them as far as how they are going to be able to play small and switch everything defensively. That is how they got here with this small lineup. He brings the physicality, and when he's hitting his three-point shot, that opens up everything for them, especially without Kawhi Leonard. They need his offense, they need his physicality, and they need his defense tonight.
You know, it's funny you mentioned how bad they are in those first 2 games of the series in this postseason. They are really good in games 3 through 7, although they would love to be able to steal one tonight on Phoenix's home court. a.smith joining us here to break down Game 2, which is just about 3 hours from now.
Before that game, how about the NBA draft lottery? Yeah, that's tonight. Let's take a look at some of the top prospects, starting with Oklahoma State star Cade Cunningham, who won both the Big 12 Freshman of the Year and the Big 12 Player of the Year awards in his only season as a Cowboy. The 6'8" guard was also the first Oklahoma State player ever to earn first-team AP All-American honors. Ranked second on ESPN's Best Available list, former USC big man Evan Mobley. He averaged 16-9 per game while also blocking 3 shots per contest. Mobley's projected as a franchise center by ESPN's Mike Schmitz. The third-ranked prospect is Jalen Suggs, best remembered for his Final Four buzzer beater against UCLA. The star freshman led Gonzaga in assists and steals last season. He's the best available shooting guard in the draft, according to ESPN's projections. And then there's Jalen Green, who decided to play in the G League this season instead of attending college. In 15 games in the G League, Green averaged nearly 18 points per game while scoring 30 in his lone G League playoff game. The 6'6" guard is fourth on ESPN's Best Available. So who's going to get the chance to draft one of these players? Well, the Rockets, the Pistons, and the Magic have the best chances to land the number 1 overall pick. The Timberwolves will keep their pick if it lands in the top 3. If it lands outside the top 3, it becomes the Warriors' pick. How about that? And for the Rockets, their pick is protected in the top 4. But if they get the 5th pick, it goes to the Thunder, who continue to just stack picks through the next decade. Brian Windhorst is back with us. Wendy, take us through what's at stake tonight for some of these lottery teams, starting with the Warriors.
Oh my God, the stakes are so high. Look, think about it for the Warriors, as you mentioned. They could end up with the number 1 pick and the number 4 pick in this draft. That's their best case scenario. It's not a great chance for the number 1 pick. In fact, only a 2% chance to get into the top 4. But if the Timberwolves fall out of the top 3, they get that pick. On the bottom end, they could just have the 14th pick. So think about that range, 1 and 4 or just 14. Huge moment for them, not only to get a couple of franchise players, potentially to get trade fodder where they could open up the opportunity to trade for a big name player. So the Warriors, sitting on the edge of their seats in this one. Now you look at the Thunder, all stakes almost as high. They could have the number 1 and number 5 pick in this draft, or they could end up with as low as the 8th pick and 18th pick. That's because they swap with the Rockets. The Rockets pick falls out of the top 4, which is a 48% chance of happening. As for the Thunder, they have about a 40% chance of getting into that top 4. Could be a franchise-changing night for them. We've been talking about the Timberwolves. Think about what's on the plate for them. They've got a 40% chance to get another franchise player and get into the top 3. Have an opportunity to add Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. It would be huge for them. But if they don't get in that top 3, they totally give up the pick. So it's gold or nothing for them in this draft. And considering that they are going to be better next year, getting this pick this year and giving away next year's pick is way more favorable. And then the Rockets. Boy, do the Rockets have a spread here. They've got a 52% chance of getting into the top 4. That is what they need to keep their pick. If the other 48% happens and they fall to 5, they've got to swap the pick back to number 18. So they're looking at a top 4 pick, a franchise player, and jumpstarting their rebuild or drafting all the way back at 18. So I didn't even bring up the Bulls, Kevin, who have a 20% chance of getting in the top 4 or losing their pick. Such an array of opportunities. Somebody could hit absolute gold tonight, especially with the top talent in this draft.
Wendy, you got me jacked up here. And we are just 2 hours away from the lottery and the ping pong balls. The Rockets, by the way, the last number 1 overall pick for them, Yao Ming, back in 2002. Excellent work there. Brian Windhorst with the very latest, getting us set for the...
But there's some big storylines today on the other side. Clippers dealing with injuries of their own. Kawhi Leonard again out. He's dealing with an injury in his right knee. LA is 42-21 with Leonard floor this season. They're just 13-10 when he's out. On the other side, the Suns, as I mentioned, without Chris Paul. He remains out indefinitely after entering the NBA's health and safety protocols last week. Phoenix a perfect 3-0 without Paul this season. With or without CP3, the Suns have been on an absolute tear as of late. Phoenix has won 8 straight playoff games, its longest streak in franchise history and the 3rd longest streak over the last 5 postseasons. Let's take a look. One of the reasons that they're doing so well, those Suns, despite not having CP3, is Devin Booker. He had a 40-point triple-double in Game 1, becoming just the 2nd player in NBA history to record a 40-point triple-double in his first career postseason. He also became just the 4th player to record a 40-point triple-double in conference or division finals history. As we say hello, because Stephen A. Smith is standing by in about an hour from now. It's Sports Center with Stephen A. It seems like maybe his shot. There he is. Okay, I think that we're getting Stephen A. I can see him on one monitor. There we go. I'm just going to ask him the question. Okay, I know you can hear me, and I know you saw what Devin Booker did in Game 1. Big judgment for the Clippers tonight to try and control him.
Well, listen, what you got to do is you got to find a way to defend. The bottom line is he had a triple-double, 40, 13, and 11. He played lights out, but typical against the Clippers, some of the stars for other teams do play lights out. Jamal Murray last year in the postseason dropped 40 on them in a Game 7. Donovan Mitchell had his way with them. He just didn't have much help against those Utah Jazz teammates of his that didn't seem to be able to create anything for themselves. But you don't have that issue with the Phoenix Suns. The bottom line is not only can Devin Booker play, clearly DeAndre Ayton has upgraded his level of play. Look how Bridges can ball. Jay Crowder can ball. Cameron Payne comes off the bench to spell for CP3, along with Cameron Johnson. So when you look at it from that perspective, they've got athletes in Phoenix who can shoot the basketball and shoot with a degree of accuracy, I might add. They're athletic. They can create their own shots. And Devin Booker isn't the only individual that you have to focus on. He needs to be your primary focus, however, because as I've stated a couple of days ago that made news, the second coming of Kobe Bryant has arrived, and he's in Phoenix. He's 6'5". He's got a mid-range game. He's got a long-range game. He can go to the hole. He's got an NBA body. He's strong enough. He's poised. He's averaging 29 in these playoffs, shooting 49% from the field, 38% from three-point range, 87% from the free throw line. This brother is special, and he's not going away. And so when you look at it from that perspective and the fact that Phoenix has home court advantage, you're going to have your work cut out for you if you're the Los Angeles Clippers. It's not about, okay, well, this is what we do. You know, they protect their home court, then we go back and we protect our home court. No, it's about being down 2-0 and having to win 4 games out of 5 against the Phoenix Suns. Can you do that? I say no, which makes tonight's Game 2 incredibly, incredibly pivotal.
By the way, I was watching live on First Take when you said that Devin Booker was the next Kobe Bryant. So we are going to get into that in just a minute. But I wanted to talk about the other side of this as well. Clippers, as we mentioned, going to be without Kawhi Leonard. Listen, Paul George, he gets a lot of criticism for being playoff P. He has done a fantastic job. But what does he have to do and this Clipper team have to do to avoid falling in an 0-2 hole tonight?
Well, he's got to get help. Paul George has done his job. He scored 31, 31, 37, and then he comes out and scores 34 in game 1 of this series. The last 4 games, basically since Kawhi Leonard has been out, Paul George has taken over. It's not pandemic P, it's playoff P. He has flat out balled and deserved all the credit in the world. But what we can't underestimate is the importance of Reggie Jackson at that point guard spot. He scored 24 in game 1. The dude can ball. He's not scared. He shines in big moments. He can hit perimeter shots. And oh, by the way, Patrick Beverly had come off the bench. He hit 3 key threes. You look at Terrence Mann, who's that guy from the Bronx, the second-round pick. This is a guy in his second year in the NBA out of Florida State. He was special in game 6. He needs to be special in this series. They can't count on Kawhi Leonard coming back. If he does, it'll be nice to see. I think they need him in order to win this series. But the bottom line is Terrence Mann has to do what he did against Utah, and it's going to be considerably tougher against Phoenix because with Phoenix, they have athletes. And because they have those athletes, they're going to match them tit for tat. Paul George needs help. He needs to continue to do what he's doing, but he needs help. And he needs to get it specifically from a guy like Reggie Jackson and a guy like Terrence Mann.
It feels a little different than what is typical for the Clippers. They're not playing with a ton of pressure. They don't have Kawhi, and they are on the road, so maybe an opportunity to steal one tonight. I mentioned it before. Stephen A is going nowhere because we're really going to get into this. Devin Booker is the next Kobe Bryant, and he's going to tell us exactly why still ahead. Stand by, Stephen A.
Loss on their home floor to the Hawks, eliminating the 1 seed in the East in the second round of the playoffs. Now, earlier today, during a segment on First Take, Stephen A. Smith read a text he received during the show from someone very close to the situation that said, Ben Simmons doesn't work, doesn't listen, and everyone around him is family. He is constantly babied. You can imagine how that's playing out in a city like Philadelphia. Sixers VP Daryl Morey will have a busy offseason trying to figure out the next step. Michelle Steele has more in tonight's SportsCenter report.
It is a stunner in South Philly.
Not so sunny in Philadelphia. 48 hours after a devastating Game 7 loss at home, Ben Simmons' love is hard to find.
I've never been more embarrassed for an athlete in my life watching sports, more than I did Ben Simmons in this series.
I'm still stunned sitting here that we didn't win the Game 7 at home.
Sixers president of basketball operations Daryl Morey facing lots of questions about the team's max contract point guard who was MIA offensively from the field and the foul line.
Can you tell us that Ben Simmons will be a 76er next season?
Not addressing Ben Simmons, but any move that will help our team win the championship or improve our odds, we will look at and do if it makes sense.
This wasn't the process Sixers fans envisioned. Question marks surrounding a young, talented core after another second-round exit. But whether Morey makes an aggressive move following a playoff flameout for one of his star players will be a storyline for the rest of the offseason.
Ultimately, you win or lose mostly with your players. It's my job to get the best players. We didn't have quite good enough players. We've got a good foundation. We just have to do better. I have to do better. Everyone has to do better.
When asked how Simmons could get better at the line and as a shooter, Morey said that head coach Doc Rivers and Simmons spoke, quote, for a long time about it and added that everybody needs to figure out how to improve. I'm Michelle Steele for ESPN.
All right, with that, we're going to bring Stephen A. Smith back in. We're getting ready for SportsCenter at Stephen A. top of the hour right here on ESPN. We just saw Daryl Morey featured prominently in that piece, Stephen A. Ben Simmons' draft stock has never been lower. What would your advice to Morey be right now?
Trade him. Move him. I said it a couple of days ago. I said it yesterday. I didn't stutter either day, and I ain't stuttering now. Ben Simmons needs to go. He doesn't need to be in Philadelphia any longer. It's not because he can't play. He was my defensive player of the year. I had a vote. That's who I voted for, not Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert was second on the list. Ben Simmons was first. He should be the defensive player of the year. Going downhill, he's an absolutely elite player. He's 24 years of age. He's 6'10". He's got a nasty handle. Passing skills, basketball IQ is very, very high. Incredibly unselfish. All of those things come along along with it. You're not talking about giving up on him because he can't play. You're saying that at some point in time, that might not be the right environment for you because you were asking him for 4 years to improve his jump shot. He ignored coaches. He ignored assistant coaches. He ignored teammates. He ignored his agent. He ignored family members. He ignored everybody because he liked being in LA. He liked being in South Beach. He liked saying, I went to the gym to play as opposed to going to the gym to actually work on my game. And it came back to bite him because the only thing that you could say about Ben Simmons is that he can't shoot. Period. We said it to Doc Rivers. We said it to Daryl Morey. We said it to Elton Brand. We said it to Joel Embiid. We said it to Tobias Harris. Everybody and every single person came to his defense until he threw him under the bus by putting forth that putrid offensive performance in the Eastern Conference semifinals. 5 games in a 7-game series, he did not even attempt a shot in the fourth quarter. 7 games in a series, he shot 34% from the field. I'm sorry, it was really 32%, but he shot 34% for the entire postseason from the free throw line. In an era in which, or in a lifetime in which we've seen Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, I'm sorry, not Kareem, Shaq, Wilt Chamberlain, and others struggle horridly from the free throw line, he eclipsed them with his ineptitude, and he's your primary ball handler and decision maker. I'm sorry, that doesn't spell championship. That spells going to the playoffs and going home because Giannis is in the Eastern Conference. KD, James Harden, and Kyrie will be waiting next year. The Atlanta Hawks are here. Miami will come back. Too many damn options. If your primary ball handler can't shoot, and everybody knows it, then what you need to do is use him to get viable assets like an Andrew Wiggins with first-round picks from Golden State, like a C.J. McCollum from the Portland Trailblazers. Somebody that can shoot and won't waste away the best years of Joel Embiid's career. Everybody knows it. Not everybody wants to say it, so I'm doing it for them. He has to go.
It's funny that you mentioned Shaq, because even Shaq was like, yeah, I was horrible at the free throw line, but I certainly didn't change my game to avoid it. And we saw Ben Simmons just flat out avoid being aggressive because he didn't want to have to shoot the basketball. Let's talk about Game 2 tonight. You're in Phoenix right now, and we've got 2 stars without their partners, right? So who is under more pressure right now? Devin Booker without CP3 or Paul George without Kawhi Leonard?
Well, it's clearly the Clippers because CP3 eventually is coming back. We don't know if Kawhi Leonard is going to come back. And if Kawhi Leonard is in all likelihood not going to come back and you fall 0-2, then you're asking the Clippers to beat a Phoenix Suns team 4 of the next 5 games in order to win a Western Conference Final Series. I don't see that happening. I just don't. So in light of that, Paul George has got to continue to play the way that he's been playing over these last 4 games. He's got to get help from Reggie Jackson, who's playing for a new contract and is showing that he deserves it. Marcus Morris has to step up. He's been sporadic. One game he's big time, another game not so much. He's got to be a bit more consistent. Patrick Beverley's got to be the professional pest that he could be on the defensive end of the floor. And Terrence Mann has to act like every game is Game 6 of the Western Conference semifinals against the Utah Jazz. That's how you avoid going down 0-2 if you're the Los Angeles Clippers. That's how you avoid planning for your vacation, because I believe if they lose Game 2 tonight, that's exactly what they'll be doing. They'll be preparing for a vacation.
And the Suns are already so heavily favored in this series. Stephen A., listen, it's not game night on ESPN without SportsCenter with Stephen A., and that is coming at the top of the hour.
Tonight, it is going down. Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals from Phoenix on ESPN at 9 p.m. Eastern. Tonight, the Los Angeles Clippers, a team known for coming back from 0-2 deficits, must avoid an 0-2 deficit in this particular series. This ain't the Utah Jazz where it's just Donovan Mitchell and a bunch of dudes he has to create a shot for. This is the Phoenix Suns, even without CP3. It's the Phoenix Suns led by a dude named Devin Booker, averaging 29, shooting better than 50% from the field, shooting about 40% from three-point range, playing absolute spectacular basketball, fresh off a 40-point triple-double in Game 1. He's got help in Bridges. He's got help in Crowder. He's got help in Payne and Cameron Johnson and DeAndre Ayton. If the Los Angeles Clippers fall down 0-2 in this series, knowing that they may not have Kawhi Leonard at their disposal, it could spell doom for them. They've heard that before, but when they heard it in the past, they still had Kawhi Leonard. That ain't the case this time around. For more on tonight's Game 2, let's go to our reporters on the scene, Young Misuk and Dave McMenamin.
Stephen A., the Clippers are no strangers to being torched by a young star in series openers. In the first round, Luka Doncic had 31, 10, and 11, and Donovan Mitchell detonated for 45 points in the second round. Now the Clippers have to solve Devin Booker, who exploded for a 40-point triple-double on Sunday. Ty Lue thought the Clippers picked Booker up too high in half court and allowed him to get downhill and attack. The Clippers say they'll adjust, but keep this in mind. Doncic had 39 and Mitchell 37 in Game 2s against the Clippers. Let's see what Booker does tonight. And now for a report on the Suns, here's Dave McMenamin.
Thanks, Ohm. Well, for the second consecutive game in the Western Conference Finals, the Suns will be without point guard Chris Paul, who continues to be out because of the health and safety protocols, and he is listed as day-to-day. Now, a team source told me that he is out in Los Angeles right now and remains asymptomatic. Today is the 9th day that he's been away from the team as he deals with this health situation. The source told me that the team remains hopeful that they get Chris Paul, their point guard, their leader, back with the team sometime during this series. Stephen A.
Thanks, Dave. We welcome in a champion. That is Kendrick Perkins, and a Hall of Famer by the name of Mike Wilbon standing next to me, who, by the way, Perk, sent me to a hotel where coyotes were waiting outside my hotel room. Do I understand that?
I wanted him to have a true Arizona welcome, Perk. I wanted him to have a welcome committee. I left the mountain lion out of it. I thought you'd be grateful.
What is it in my resume that tells you I have any kind of relationship or any interest in having a relationship with coyotes? Anyway, we'll get to that another time. Devin Booker, a 40-point triple-double in Game 1 of this Western Conference Finals, Mike Wilbon. When you think about him, can the Clippers defend this man?
Yeah. They're going to have to do it a little differently. Play better, play harder, not be tired coming off of a Game 7. Stephen A., I didn't say they could shut him down. That's not going to happen.
Right.
But they got to keep him under a 40-point triple-double.
Well, you do know that the Clippers have given up 40-point performances
4 or 5 times,
different times these playoffs, right, Mike?
Well, maybe they can defend it. Look, Devin Booker's going, as we used to say, going to get his. They're not going to stop him entirely. But they got to do a better job on Devin Booker. Have him shoot about 40% tonight and not 50. They're going to have to prevent him, especially around the arc, because you know he will pull up quickly and take those shots early in the shot clock. They've worked on that against all the defenses they're going to face early in the shot clock. So, I mean, you expect Devin Booker to have a repeat performance exactly. I think Devin Booker will be tremendous. That still could be 32 or 35. If he gets to 40 or above, the Clippers are going to be down 0-2 again.
Perk, I'll switch to you because in order to prevent that from happening, Paul George is going to be a key factor here since Kawhi is going down 31, 31, 37, 34 in Game 1 of this series. But clearly he'll need help going up against these Phoenix Suns. Who needs to step out? Who needs to step up most to help Paul George?
Well, it's Reggie Hot Sauce Jackson, and that's what they call him, Stephen A. Along with Nicholas Batum, Terrence Mann, Patrick Beverly, they got to knock down three-point shots. And we all know the Clippers are best when they're shooting the three-point ball good, when they're getting those corner threes to fall in. But I got to say this. I know T. Lue went small against the Utah Jazz, and he went small majority of the game in Game 1 against the Suns, but he's going to have to use Boogie Cousins and Zubac to neutralize DeAndre Ayton, because DeAndre Ayton has been on everybody's top like a toupee throughout the playoffs. And so he's going to have to find a way to at least wear him down, because Monty Williams is not changing. DeAndre Ayton is not Rudy Gobert, okay? He could move his feet defensively. He could guard guards on the perimeter. So T. Lue is going to have to switch it up from that small ball lineup and use Zubac and Big Cousins to try to neutralize DeAndre Ayton in some type of fashion tonight.
Well, I'm assuming, Big Perk, since you mentioned that, you're talking about them attacking DeAndre Ayton on the offensive end, because those two dudes certainly can't run with DeAndre Ayton on the defensive end. Mike Wilbon, you heard what Big Perk had to say. What are your thoughts about this?
But I agree with Perkins on this whole point, Stephen A., because coming into the playoffs, you and I talked about this. What is it that possibly, if the Suns are lacking anything in personnel, what is it? Size.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, this becomes an old-fashioned thing. Perk, does it not? If you look at the team and you see one legit big, which is what DeAndre Ayton is, one legit big for the Phoenix Suns, how do you attack them? Size. And that was a concern coming into the playoffs. Now, the Suns have solved everything so far, but if you're T. Lue, why wouldn't you try that tonight?
Here's why I disagree with both you and Big Perk on this. The reality is that if you're doing that, you're scoring twos. The Clippers like to shoot threes. When you miss them, it's long rebounds. That leads to Phoenix running up and down the court, which you don't want. But if you slow it down, you're scoring 2-pointers, and that's not just the way they do things. But we'll get back to that later, folks. Shocking. I disagree with Wilbon and Big Perk. Up next. There he is. That's the man, Devin Booker, coming off his first triple-double in his 420th career game. He'll look to extend the Suns' winning streak to 9 games, which would match the longest streak of his career.
We're happy we made it to these conference finals, but we're not satisfied.
We've worked extremely hard to be in this moment, but job is not done.
I'll be balling every day. Young's downhill, slams it home. What a finish by Trae Young.
We just had that chip on our shoulder all year, just having that underdog mentality.
We believe in who we are. No matter the pressure, we are built for this.
The Bucks won the head-to-head series 2-1 during the regular season, outscoring Atlanta by 6 points per game. But Trae Young didn't play in 2 of those 3 games and shot just 18% of the 1 game he did. Earlier today, Giannis talked about going up against Trae Young.
You know, what he can do for his size, the way he can get down the lane and, you know, get everybody involved, look for his shot, create for his own self. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I think this is third year in the league. Yeah, like what he's done is, 3-year span. It's unbelievable. Like he got to, keep, getting better, keep believing in himself, and the sky's the limit for him.
We welcome in ESPN senior NBA writer, the one and only Mark Spears. Now, Mark, obviously, we've seen the job that Nate McMillan has done. We know how significant Trae Young is to the Atlanta Hawks franchise. I want to know about what is he planning on doing once these playoffs are over as it pertains to Coach Nate McMillan, his teammate John Collins, and others.
Well, Trae hopes it's after the finals, right?
Okay, that's right. That's right.
But expect him to go to management and say, look, we need Nate McMillan back. I think they've connected like a father-son, but also Nate being a former player is something that Trae really likes, and he also pushes him. Nate keeps pushing him for greatness. Trae loves him, and he's also going to go in there and tell him they need to get Collins back. He and Collins are a great alley-oop duo, and he wants both of them back badly, so he wants to band back together next season.
Let me get to a subject near and dear to my heart. I'm looking at the conference finals right now. There's 4 teams still playing the Final Four. We've got Ty Lue, obviously, and Monty Williams here in LA and Phoenix, respectively. And in the Eastern Conference, again, there's Nate McMillan. 3 of the 4 coaches, head coaches, happen to be black individuals. Talk to me about what that means, especially with 7 coaching openings available in the NBA this offseason.
Steve, the NBA has been around since, what, 1950?
That's right.
This is the first time in NBA history that we've had 3 black coaches in the conference finals. That's significant, and I think it's going to make an amends also when it comes to hiring coaches. The guy I'm excited about is Chauncey Billups. You're hearing Chauncey's name in Boston. You're hearing Chauncey's name in Portland. Expect him to interview with them later this week. New Orleans to a lesser extent, but Chauncey is one of several names that for these jobs, and I think most of these jobs will be filled by black coaches.
What about Sam Cassell? What about him? That's another name that should be mentioned. I mean, this is a guy that played in Milwaukee. He's played in Boston. He's played in Houston. We know what he's been doing on the bench with Doc Rivers, first in L.A. and in Philly this year. What about Sam Cassell?
I definitely think he needs to be in Boston, getting an interview there. That was something I see him as a former player getting a look there. I haven't heard his name hot anywhere, but to your point, Sam has paid his dues. He's a former player. He's a champion. Why not? He definitely deserves an interview.
Mark Spears, always appreciate the great work, my man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Still ahead, we'll look back at Kevin Booker's Game 1 dominance and why the Sun star could be following in Kobe Bryant's footsteps. That's right, I said it. Plus, I'm calling out the must-see moments from around the basketball world. Find out who lands on tonight's edition of Oh No, You Did It! There he is. That ain't pandemic P, Mike Wilbon.
No, it's not.
That's playoff PG, Paul George. Balling with 20 points tonight. He become the third player over the last decade with 20 points in each of the first 15 playoff games, joining LeBron James and Kevin Durant. That's beautiful company. Devin Booker became the 5th player to record his first career triple-double in the conference finals over the last 60 seasons. He joined James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Jerry Lucas, and Bill Russell, all Hall of Famers, all of them. Here's a look back at Devin Booker's performance in Game 1.
Right now, Booker is unguardable.
This is his first time at this level, at this stage, but I don't understand how everyone's acting surprised at this point.
I get up when I'm down, had enough, almost drowned. When shit's rough, I get tough, and when I'm beaten to the ground, I get up. I get up. I get up. I get up.
Booker for three. It's good. Devin Booker from downtown. Booker pulls up, puts it in.
We knew we were going to all have to give it, a little bit more.
Booker falling away. Got it again. Three-pointer. It's good. Devin Booker on fire. It's a Booker bonanza.
Mike Wilbon back with me here. I was on this big-time show the other day on ESPN+. It's called Stephen A's World. Don't know if you ever heard of it. It's a big-time show. Anyway,
I'm aware.
Anyway, on that particular show, I took the liberty to say that Devin Booker is the second coming of Kobe Bryant.
Stephen A.
That's right, I said it.
Stephen
Any
A.
problems with that, Mike Wilbon?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's too far. It's too much. It's too soon.
Why is that?
Look, he can be great on his own. By the way, to be fair, he has a tattoo that says "Be Legendary" on one forearm or the other. I've seen it. And that was after a conversation with Kobe Bryant. When Kobe was on the way out, his last game against the Suns, I think it was in this building, and Devin was young. Devin, I think, was in his rookie season. And the conversation was real. The admiration is real. But I'm not going to second coming of Kobe Bryant. I just think you got to separate them.
I'm not saying he's better. I'm saying it's next. The game is similar. By the way, both 6'6", both about 210 to 212.
Looks about 6'4".
Listen, well, it says 6'6". It looks 6'6" to me.
6'6".
Okay, got a pull-up, Jay, got a three.
Got it all.
Can create his own shot.
Has it all.
Averaging 29 points a game, shooting better than 50% from the field, nearly 40% from three-point range, 87% from the free throw line. The brother is the real deal. And oh, by the way, Kobe was drafted in 1996. He was born in 1996. Kobe was the 13th overall pick. So is Devin Booker, the 13th overall pick.
Lots of similarities.
The only thing I see different is that, listen, he's light-skinned. Kobe was a little bit darker. But outside of that, I see a lot of similarities, move on.
I see a great player in Devin Booker who can do all the things you said he can do. He can also lead this team. But there are elements of other people in his game, Stephen A. How about practicing and playing all year long and being influenced by Chris Paul?
Okay.
Right? So there are elements of that which Kobe wouldn't necessarily have. Devin is not what I would call an acrobat. He's great on his own.
Listen, I only got one thing to say to you.
What?
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't disagree with me, Mike Wilbon. Oh, no, you didn't. Big Perk, come back in here, because you know what I'm getting to. Oh, no, you didn't. Here's number 5 on the list. P.J. Tucker beating up Kevin Durant the way that he did in that Eastern Conference semifinals, fouling them all over the place. Got upset. He got Mama KD upset, okay? Mama Durant upset. And she said, this ain't basketball. This ain't football. This is basketball. P.J. Tucker looked it up, said, I love you. And look at her. I love you too. Ain't that beautiful? Oh, no, you didn't. Try to come at Mama Durant, but he did so lovely, so affectionately. They've been friends for forever. It was a beautiful thing to see. Oh, no, y'all didn't show that kind of love. Oh, no, y'all didn't. I love it. Let's go to number 4 on the list, please. Terrence Mann. Remember this kid? Game 6, Western Conference semifinals against Utah. Kawhi Leonard is hurt. And what does this brother out of Florida State do? Born in the Bronx, by the way. Drops 39. Shooting threes all over the place. You see that, Big Perk? You see? Oh, no, you didn't. Look at him catch that alley-oop. Oh, no, you didn't, Terrence Mann. Put the world on notice.
Oh, yes,
that is your X Factor tonight. There we go. There we go. Let's go to number 3 on the list, please. Keep that list rolling. Gordon Hayward. He's on a private jet. We can tell. Look at him. He gets scared to death. His daughter woke him up. Oh, no, you didn't scare your daddy like that. Oh, no, you didn't. scare your daddy like that. But hey, I got news for you. You see Gordon Hayward, you gotta be alert at all times, especially around the little missus. She's adorable, ain't she? Stevie A loves the kids. Stevie A loves the kids, Mike Wilbon. He sure does. Oh no, you didn't show that love. Oh no, you did. Let's go to number 2 on the list, please. Give it to me here. Giannis. We all know he's had his problems at the free throw line. Not to the degree of Ben Simmons, but he had his problems at the ball. They said, look at this. Oh Lord, no, you didn't shoot a free throw like that. That's the same as
that's what you call an oxygen ball. That's what it is.
Ball. The oxygen ball, right? Oxygen ball. No air whatsoever. You need some bad. It needs some bad. No, you didn't, Giannis, do that. Oh, no, you didn't. But you won Game 7, so I got you. Number 1 on the list. Look at this. John Collins, the man that Trae Young wants to keep, going against Joel Embiid. Yammed on him, hit him in the face, looked him in the face, talked to him, gave him that big perk look, just scowled at him, looked at him, said, I don't like it, and then what a teacher. Oh, no, you didn't disrespect Joel Embiid like that. Wearing that T-shirt at the press conference about how you dunked on it. Had a T-shirt, man. How you get it done that quick? How you get it done that quick?
Not respecting these Philly guys to you.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, that's the bottom line. Don't miss NBA Countdown coming up at 7:30 Eastern with full coverage of tonight's NBA Draft Lottery and the Clippers and Suns Game 2 showdown on ESPN. Don't miss it. More to come. Sports Center with yours truly. More in a minute. That's tip-off for Game 2. Suns, Clippers, get set. If we get set for that big perk, we need predictions. Yours first. Who you got for Game 2 tonight? Go
well,
ahead,
Stephen A., I hate
to
go against Ty Lue. You know that, right? I feel like he's one of the best coaches. I'm going with Monty Williams tonight. He's also a good coach. Phoenix Suns getting this win tonight at home. The fans are going to be rocking. We know what Devin Booker is going to do, and the role players are going to thrive off the energy of that rowdy crowd in Phoenix. I got the Suns winning tonight.
Wilbon, your prediction for Game 2?
I'm taking the Suns. I'm taking the team that's won 8 straight games to continue momentum. I mean, we think the other team is going to counter and come back. I'm with Perk on Monty Williams and the things that he's able to do. And I'm looking at the Cams. They're going to have big games. I don't think that Booker has to have a 40-point game for the Suns to win a really good all-around game again. Right. North of 40, not necessarily.
I don't think Booker needs 40 either, but he'll get it anyway. I'm predicting that Devin Booker drops another 40 tonight. The Clippers give up 40 in a game to a player for the 6th time this playoff series, and the Phoenix Suns go up 2-0 in this Western Conference semifinal series. NBA Countdown is next, followed by the NBA Draft Lottery and Game 2 between the Clippers and the Phoenix Suns. Y'all make sure y'all enjoy the game with Wilbon, Big Perk. This is Stephen A. signing off. NBA Countdown's in the house. Let's go.
Well, it seemed as though trips to the Western Conference Finals for the Phoenix Suns had dried up like the desert, but in Game 1, they showed out and that they belonged on the biggest stage, and we are getting prepared for Game 2 of Clippers and Suns, and Devin Booker knows that legacies are made when you play playoff basketball in the summer, coming off of a 40-point triple-double, his first triple-double of his career, and we will not see Chris Paul tonight, but we do have the jersey walking in on Langston Galloway, so maybe that'll make some Phoenix fans feel good about their chances in Game 2. But Paul George put up 34 in a loss, and it was a close loss for the Clippers. They're looking to steal one on the road. Will they be? Welcome back inside of Phoenix Suns Arena. You're watching NBA Countdown. I'm Maria Taylor alongside Adrian Wojnarowski. We've got Jalen Rose. I'm loving the suit.
Thank you. I'm loving your look. All black everything.
It's too hot to be in black, but that's okay. We've got Jay Williams here too, and it's time for Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals, and we were sitting in this very arena when it was electric and the Suns had it all under control, and we saw a superstar being born on the biggest stage, and it was Devin Booker. When you think about your biggest takeaway from Game 1, what we were able to experience right here, it would be what?
He had his first career triple-double, which means he had 10 rebounds. But the beauty of his game, Jay, is he actually mixed it up. So many times we talk about pace and space and players falling in love with the three. But it was the not-so-lost art of the mid-range jump shot as he made a career-high 10 of them in Game 1.
Yeah, and I think for this Suns team to get a win in the bank with Chris Paul out was big. And now I'm told there's some optimism that we are going to see him out of protocols somewhere in Los Angeles in this series, perhaps as soon as Game 3.
And it feels like for the Clippers that this is a must-win game scenario. You don't want to return, first off, and be your third series in a row that you're playing down 0-2. And you feel like the momentum will shift towards the Suns when they get CP3 back. And I don't know if you can counter that kind of energy when he comes back home.
Yeah, the Clippers, they're trying to be the first team in NBA history to come back from a 1-0 deficit 3 times in a season. But they've proven that they can come back from a 0-2 deficit. So we'll see whether or not they can battle back right here in Phoenix tonight. And obviously, it's just a big night of basketball because we also have the NBA draft lottery coming your way. Yeah, we're not the only show in town. The 14 teams are obviously waiting to get their shot at having the first pick in the NBA draft. They're coming one step closer to building their futures. Check out the 14 ping pong balls that ultimately decide their futures. And let's talk about the players who are going to be waiting to hear their names called on draft night. A top 10 pick in Davion Mitchell. He had a stellar season with Baylor, led the Big 12 in both three-point field goal percentage and assists. The last player to do that was Kirk Heinrich in 01-02. Another strong part of Mitchell's game is his defense, though. He won the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year award, ranked second in steals in the Big 12. And Mitchell played a key role in the NCAA tournament, helping Baylor to secure the national championship. He recorded 16 assists in the final 4 games. That's the most any player has done it since 2005. And guess what, guys? Davion Mitchell is actually joining us right now on the show.
What's up?
Yes, thank you so much for joining. He's got a ball in his hands because he never lets it go.
All in love with the game.
Yeah, he's obviously ready for the NBA draft. But Davion, I want people to understand your story. You started out at Auburn. You were averaging 3 points per game, 17 minutes. You were coming off the bench. You redshirt, sit out, then go to Baylor and win a national championship. What did you learn during your collegiate journey that's prepared you for this NBA draft?
Yeah, man, I think first thing I learned is I never stopped working throughout the whole journey and transferring and having to sit out and not playing as many minutes as I thought I should, but I still kept working throughout that process, and I think that helped me a lot. And I think today it's carry on today. That's why I'm just blessed to be here. But yeah, man, just the hard work. And the support system from my family, coaches, and even the people at Auburn who supported me, even when I transferred, man. And I think that's what really helped me.
You feel when NBA experts compare you to defensive specialists in the draft as it relates to NBA comps like Patrick Beverley or Avery Bradley?
Man, for me, I think I'm just blessed just to put my name in those conversations, man, because those guys are really good players. No matter who it is, you're always going to get compared to whoever it is. I get compared to Donovan Mitchell and Patrick Beverley and all those other people, but I think for me, I'm just going to play my game, and whatever is best for me, I'm just keep playing me. But like I said before, I'm blessed to be compared to those people. I put in a lot of work for this moment here.
Davion, you just mentioned Donovan Mitchell. You certainly share a last name with him. You wore his number at Baylor, 45, and you built a relationship with him. How has he helped you prepare for what's ahead in the NBA?
Man, him and Chris Paul helped me out a lot. Those guys are really good players. They just don't talk to me about basketball. They talk to me about the mental side of the game, and I think that's what really helped me, what I need to put in my body to be successful and to help me throughout my NBA career. Because your body is the most important thing, I think. So just talking to them. I try not to talk to them as much because, they're in the playoffs and they've been playing a lot, and I know everyone's trying to talk to them. So I try not to ask too many questions, but when I get a chance, man, they give me the best wisdom ever. I'm thankful to have those people around me to be able to talk to them every day.
Davion, congratulations being a part of this process, and whatever you do, do not wear red gaiters. That's my advice. The second thing, what sparked your improvement as it related to your three-point shot, because you had a remarkable jump this season?
I think for me, I could always shoot. It's just the matter of the confidence came in. I knew after my sophomore year I could shoot it. It was just a lot of work that's put in. I think for sure. A lot of those nights in the gym where I put up a lot of shots, even off the bounce and catch and shoot. A lot of those times, I'm just in there just working on my shot, and even just watching films on people shooting. It wasn't just working on my shot. It was just watching how Steph Curry or all those great shooters position the ball with their hands at the ball so I get great rotation. I mean, it's a lot of things that helped me throughout this college year for me to shoot like that. So, yeah, I think that's what it was.
Davion, I'm going to brag on you since you're not going to do it on yourself, but I know you were a part of the 4 a.m. crew. Okay, guys, he was showing up at the facility, getting extra workouts in. At night, he was coming back and he was making sure he hit 300 threes.
I was just coming in when I was in college.
And that's why Davion's over there getting ready to be drafted. He's not going to wear the red gaiters, the whole thing. But the last question I have for you, okay, they gave you a key to the city and a parade when you won the national championship in Hinesville, Georgia.
Deserved.
What do you get if you win an NBA championship? I just want you to shout out your city.
Man, shout out to Hinesville, Georgia, man, small city, close to Savannah. But yeah, man, it's an amazing feeling. Those guys supported me throughout my whole journey. I'm just blessed to have the keys to the city and just blessed to be a part of it, man. But yeah, shout out to them, and hopefully I can inspire the little kids down there in that small city to make sure just putting in the work, no matter where you are. I think it's going to show if you just put in the work.
All right, Davion Mitchell, he's got the keys just in general to life. Congratulations on a great college career, and we're looking forward to seeing where you end up in the NBA draft.
Good luck, brother.
All right, good luck, Davion.
Thank you.
So the NBA draft lottery is coming our way. It's following up our NBA countdown show, and obviously we know that there's ping pong balls waiting to be pulled out. DeAndre Ayton, though, coming off a 20-point game in the paint.
A difference maker. It's going to be really important for him to guard and contest on the perimeter, but also hustle.
And Bill Russell. And Cassidy Hubbard is actually in the same building that we're in, just downstairs, courtside. Right now, she got here to Phoenix yesterday, and it's great to have you on the show, Cassidy. And obviously, Devin Booker went off. I mean, he eviscerated the Clippers' defense. So what's the plan for the Clippers on guarding Booker in Game 2?
You guys are so close, yet so far away from me. As far as Devin Booker, look, Reggie Jackson. I love you guys. I love you guys. And the Suns fans have to be loving Devin Booker right now. Clippers fans, not so much. Reggie Jackson, he said that Devin Booker is a complete package, a 3-level player, really touting his mid-range game. However, in talking to Ty Lue, he said out of those 3 levels, he's willing to give up that mid-range because really it's just 2 points at the end of the day. But when asking Ty Lue about his adjustments, he said he really didn't like their pickup points against Devin Booker. He took advantage of their blitzing. He used the phrase, we want to keep our heels to the 3 to really shorten the court against Devin, because even though he liked the aggressiveness of Patrick Beverley and Terrence Mann, in the long run, Devin Booker just took advantage.
All right, you mentioned obviously your conversation with Ty Lue, but they've been here before. They've been in this situation. They've been down 0-2 in the playoffs twice. So how are they just approaching this series right now?
Yeah, Paul George called Game 1 a feel-out game. If you take exception to that phrase, you're not paying attention to Ty Lue's coaching style. He told me that his favorite part of coaching is making adjustments in the playoffs. He loves to see and pick apart what teams do in games 1 and 2. Some people say maybe a slow start. For him, it's gathering information. And we've seen him. He's thrown out different rotations, gone deeper into his rotation, different lineups. And we'll see what he does as far as this game. We know that he's going to make some adjustments on Devin Booker. But as far as their confidence level, Paul George is confident that they'll have a counterpunch, even without Kawhi Leonard and a beat-up Marcus Morris tonight.
All right, we'll see if they can tie up this series. And Cassidy, we're confident you're not going to spill anything on that all-white suit. You're going to be just fine, okay? Thank you so much for gathering information for us on the show. Meanwhile, Reggie Jackson, all smiles because he scored 20 in 3 straight games, been huge for the Clippers.
I want to give Reggie Jackson props because they were down 2-0 in the first round series. They put him in the starting lineup, and Woj and I talked about this. He's been their game changer for this postseason.
All right, so Milwaukee will have to find a way to slow down Trae Young. It hasn't happened yet, something the Knicks and the 76ers struggle to do. He's the 6th player to average at least 25 points and 10 assists entering the conference finals. And the Hawks will look to limit Giannis getting to the basket. He scored 154 points versus the Nets in the paint. That's the most in a playoff series since Shaq in the 2000 finals against the Pacers. And speaking of Giannis, he's the only player in the series to make the All-Star team this season. The last time a conference finals features just one All-Star was in 1975. It was the Warriors, and it was the Bulls. Welcome back inside of Phoenix Suns Arena. We've got Maria, Woj, Jalen, and Jay Will, and I've been being a professional about the Atlanta Hawks being great this season. And I'm going to continue to do that, but I can say that the city is live and excited to have the Hawks doing so well, but this is a huge challenge coming up. Jay Rose, going up against Giannis, I don't even know if they have the bodies that can slow him down, but when you think about the matchup, you think what?
I don't either. I think about Giannis's dominance. And also, I want to make sure I give him credit because he's been Goliath in a lot of ways. He's not a knockdown three shooter. He's not a free throw shooter at a high clip. And he needed to guard Kevin Durant. But you know what he didn't do? Settle.
Yeah.
Imagine where the Philadelphia 76ers would be if Joel Embiid didn't have 8 turnovers and didn't settle, while we're still only talking about Ben Simmons, and rightfully so. That's going to be the difference. His points in the paint, those numbers are going to go up in this series.
The Milwaukee Bucks won this series. James Harden was on one leg. Kyrie Irving did not play. It took a missed air ball, three-point shot by KD for them to win the series. I was not overly impressed by Coach Bud's defensive scheme. I will tell you this, if they play drop coverage against that pick and roll with Trae Young, they're going to have a problem. If Brook Lopez is playing Trae Young off that screen the same way he played KD off that screen, it's going to be an issue. Maybe look for the Bucks to go smaller. Maybe play Giannis at the 5 to have more versatility.
There you go, disrespecting my Bucks again.
I didn't disrespect the Bucks.
There you go.
I gave them credit.
No, you did. You talked about their injury. So let's talk about the Suns. They played against the Lakers without AD. They played against Denver without Murray, and they're playing against the Clippers without Kawhi. And we're not taking anything away from them.
So answer this. So you were impressed with Coach Bud's defensive scheme against the Brooklyn Nets?
I saw Giannis go from not guarding him to guarding him. Tucker did a really good job on KD. Each of his shots in the fourth quarter were contested.
He had 50.
Played isolation.
He had close to 50 in Game 6. He close at the 50 in Game 7 without Kyrie, without James Harden. I hear what you're saying. I'm just saying, if we're talking about the Bucks being one of the most complete teams in the NBA, and I hear KD is special, but come on, man, you can't say that was a brilliant defensive strategy by Coach Budenholzer.
I saw a game where PJ Tucker guarded KD better than anybody I'd ever seen. And they forced him into isolation situations, and the Bucks have advanced, Woj.
They've advanced. It took a Game 7. They had to go on the road and do it against the Nets. Y'all need to figure that out. Woj, I'm going to talk to you. It's getting real hot over there. I don't really know what's going on. We're good. I don't know if people are liking and subscribing to the Woj pod, but if you haven't, you need to go and listen to the Giannis draft episodes because they're so good, but it explains the historical context between the Hawks and the Bucks and really how it kind of goes back a little bit.
Yeah, 8 years ago, Giannis Antetokounmpo was a little-known Greek teenager entering the NBA draft. The Atlanta Hawks, their general manager at the time, Danny Ferry, and Wes Wilcox, their front office, they were chasing Giannis Antetokounmpo all over the world. They wanted desperately to draft him. They convinced his agent to not allow anyone else to meet with him. They flew him into Atlanta the week before the draft, gave him a physical, sent him up to New York and said, we'll see you after the draft. Well, they had picks 16 and 17. Milwaukee was at 15 and broke their hearts by drafting Giannis ahead of them, changed the course of modern NBA history.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we've all had questions about Giannis, the 2-time MVP, whether or not he'd be able to perform in the postseason, make it happen.
Yes.
Now we're throwing flowers. Some of us are throwing flowers.
Yeah.
Here we go again. Here we go again. We always talked about this 7.
He was a game changer this entire playoff. Let's see if it can continue.
All right, game changer, also just like the critical piece this playoff season has been Devin Booker. And the Clippers, well, they double-teamed Devin Booker for stretches of the game, and they had some success in the first quarter. However, in the final 3 quarters of the game, the Suns shot 8 for 11 from the field when Booker was double-teamed. That included going 4 of 6 on three-pointers. So, Professor J. Will, how was Booker so effective in the double-team?
Because Devin Booker gave up the ball early, and he read the multitude of coverages that Ty Lue and the Clippers threw at him. And they threw him a different looks defensively, blitzing the screen, sometimes not blitzing the screen. Let's go to the tape so I can show you exactly what I mean here on this breakdown, because this is what it's all about here. Devin Booker making the right read, them being patient offensively. You're going to see off this first high pick, DeAndre Ayton comes up. They're going to blitz it, a.k.a. they're going to trap Devin Booker. You're going to see Patrick Beverly. You're also going to see Boogie Cousins come out, try to force the ball out of Devin Booker's hands. But look how DeAndre Ayton finds the open space, turns, spaces. He's composed, takes his time, and once the ball is delivered, pocket pass over the top, DeAndre Ayton reads the defender. Look how he checks out Paul George. What is Paul George doing? And he gives a little side fake. He sees Mikal Bridges up there in the top corner. He looks him off, and then he kicks the ball to the corner, to the slot corner for a 3 with Torrey Craig. Once again, the patience and composure, looks off the defender, and then kicks the corner pass for a 3. Once again, they made 13 threes in this game, shooting 41% from the three-point line. Now look, this team averages 27 assists per game. 27 assists per game. That's third in the NBA. They had 31 in their last game. A different look off this screen. You're going to see a basic switch. Paul George switches right there with Morris. Then Morris again off another double screen with DeAndre and switches with Nicholas Batum. Simple switch. A different look. No blitz. Now they're one-on-one. 12 seconds left to go or 13 seconds left to go on the shot clock. We like it. You're going to see another blitz. They're going to come off their man. And you like it. Mikal Bridges. Terrence Mann comes off Mikal Bridges. Just randomly traps him in the open court. Comes through the trap. Devin Booker recognizes it. Mikal Bridges reads the defender once again. He sees Reggie Jackson, looks him off with a pass to the corner slot. And these are the kind of plays that you just love. High basketball eye plays. Stylistically, if I can say stylistically, this team got whatever they wanted when they wanted. And because of this passing, because of the floor spacing, and the unselfishness of Devin Booker, that's what they're able to succeed.
But also, great job, great breakdown. But also having him in the middle of the floor so he can actually see the defense. See, the first one was against Boogie. They had him in the action for a reason. The second, to me, they were too small. Like the Clippers went extra small against Rudy Gobert. They would take advantage of that. And I know the plus-minus numbers object that for Ayton, but he's going to score on the smaller guys. He's going to rim run and change into the floor and be a difference maker in the series.
Yeah, and with Chris Paul out, obviously Devin Booker playing that point guard role even more. He was actually the ball handler on 38 pick and roll plays. But also, Ty Lue was saying that they were giving up too much real estate to him to get downhill. So what has to change then defensively for the Clippers to slow him down?
See, these great players, you can't allow them to occupy from the opposite free throw line into the hash mark. Like, if you allow them to just have a stroll in the park, they're going to kill you. You saw how P.J. Tucker was picking up Jay Crowder in this series. You got to make Booker uncomfortable. So all of those guards for the Clippers, they got to get up. That's what you got to do against a great player, make them uncomfortable.
Yeah, and what's going to be important for tonight for the Clippers, the status of Marcus Morris, who tweaked that left knee in Game 1. He's out here now testing out that knee, see if he can go here in Game 2. He's an important player for this LA team.
See, well, that goes small.
Yeah.
Like I don't like when you have Zubac in the game, you're able to take him away from the basket with those high screens. It leaves open the rim. If you go smaller, you can switch all that action.
But the only thing, fam, you can't go small. See, like Gobert doesn't have a great post moves or a touch around the basket. So, like, if a 6'5" guy like Mann gets stuck on him, he's not going to punish him. But Ayton's going to punish him.
But I'd rather have a 2 than wide open 3s. The Suns missed a ton of wide open 3s in Game 1
But that's what I mean by work the game. Take the open shot. Like, these guys are too athletic. They're too disciplined. The coaches are too good. You got to find a way to get the open shot, and that's what Devin Booker took advantage of in Game 1.
I'm thinking about how the Clippers got here, too, right? They had to get through Luka. Like, they've played some great guards. They had to get past Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, he was hobbled towards the end of the series. But do you think they get progressively better at guarding that superstar player as the series goes on? Maybe this is just, like Cassidy said earlier, it was a feel-out game, an opportunity to figure out the way they need to defend.
Well, they did in those two series. The difference in this series, no Kawhi Leonard. And listen, we can't overstate how important he is to this team, what he's meant, and how much more you are asking of everyone else on this Clippers team. You know, I think right now there's confidence that the Suns are going to get Chris Paul back in the series. That confidence about Kawhi Leonard being back is not there right now in LA.
Well, that's why I think tonight is a must-win for this Clippers team. If you go down 0-2 again for the third straight time, but this time without Kawhi Point, who has more 30-point games in the playoffs than anybody else this year, it puts you at a real detriment.
If Chris Paul is not on the floor in this series, the Clippers have to win those games because he is coming back.
Yes.
Right. Okay, I know that Jalen usually does the blind resume. I wanted to take over your blind resume spot and throw something up there for you, okay? I don't have my glasses on, but if I had some, I would put on my Jalen Rose glasses. Okay, we got 2 40-point playoff games right here. We've got the shot charts out. I want you to tell me who's on the right and who's on the left.
On the left, got to be Devin Booker.
Okay, good job.
Right, on the right, nobody for the Clippers have 40.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
Both of these players scored 40.
Kevin Durant.
They dominated in the mid-range. Mid-range. Think mid-range.
No threes.
Jalen Rose in the year 2000 against the 76ers.
Great job
right there.
Wow. That's love.
So when J. Rose comes out and he's like, it's the art of the mid-range. That's what's missing.
That's my life.
This is why. Yes. That's why you love it so much.
I do it because here's what happens, Maria. when these guys know where you're going to be, they're too good. You heard what Ty Lue said, keep your heels on the 3-line. But you can't do that against Booker. I remember the Spurs did that against James Harden. All they did was play the 3-point line and play the hoop because he wasn't going to play the mid-range.
And I remember when the 76ers did that against Jalen in the year 2000. And he scored 40 points. It's the art of the mid-range, okay? It's about to go down. We'll see if Devin Booker still has the mid-range on fire. That's right. You know it was Matt Williams. You know it was.
Tony Hawkins, I'll say something positive about you.
Say something positive about Cam Payne and what he's been able to do.
I'm happy that he turned himself not only into an NBA player again, Jay Will, but a productive one that plays quality minutes even without Chris Paul, especially in the first half last game.
And remember, we'll see players in this draft lottery.
Draft lottery is coming up next after NBA Countdown, and then after that, you get Game 2 of the Suns and the Clippers. Devin Booker just literally did everything, outscored every single player on the court in Game 1. It was impressive.
His first career triple-double, which means he was rebounding the basketball at an outstanding clip. But more importantly, he was feeding his teammates, allowing the defense not to necessarily know who was going to get the basketball, which was why you saw so many players in double figures.
Yeah. Plus, he wasn't always trying to make the home run pass. There were a lot of hockey assists where he gave the ball up and then they delivered the assist to somebody else.
And obviously, Devin Booker playing in his very first playoff series. And at one point, he was a top prospect. So let's take a look at some of the top prospects that are waiting to see where this NBA draft lottery lands to find out where they could possibly end up. And according to Jonathan Givony and Mike Schmitz, Cade Cunningham is projected to be the #1 pick in July's draft. Right behind him, though, is Evan Mobley out of USC, who would be the second top 5 selection from Southern Cal in the common draft era. And he would be joining OJ Mayo. And guess who's getting to join us now? We've got Evan Mobley. And actually, he right now is challenging Jalen for best suit on NBA Countdown for a 7-footer to be that fitted, okay? It takes a lot of special talent, but I love it. It matches the USC colors. And Evan, let's start with you actually leading your team to an Elite 8 appearance. It was the first time since 2001 that USC had been there. So what did you learn during the tournament run?
It was just amazing process to go through. It was during the COVID time, so it was just a little different. I got to spend that time with my family, Isaiah, and my dad. He's assistant coach. It was just an amazing experience to spend that time with my family.
Evan, how would you describe your games to people who haven't gotten a chance to see you play yet?
I feel like I'm a big that is very versatile, can space the floor, spread the floor. I'm very agile. Whenever a big is bigger than me, I can use my speed and agility to go around them, and also my outside range. And I just feel like I'm a versatile big.
Evan, speaking of those comparisons, I've heard some people say that you're like a Chris Bosh or like your fellow USC alum, Bam Adebayo. If you had to describe your game and compare it to someone, obviously other than yourself, who would that be?
I don't really like to compare too much. I like to just be the best I can be. So I just focus on my game. I take bits and pieces from different people, but I just like to focus on my game and be the best player I can be.
I love that, Evan. No comparisons necessary. Okay, you were the Pac-12 Player of the Year, the Defensive Player of the Year, and the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year. The last time we saw that happen in a major conference, Anthony Davis was able to pull that off. And since we're not comparing anyone, I'm not going to ask you to compare yourself to AD. But what have you been working on in your game as you prepare for the next level?
During the pre-draft, we've been doing a lot of conditioning, shooting, and pick and roll concepts and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of shooting and pick and roll concepts. That's like the main focus during the workouts.
You obviously have the size, you have the length, you have the dexterity, you have the athletic ability. What do you think your most difficult adjustment will be at the next level?
I feel like I have a pretty good defensive presence. I'm working to work on that and hopefully bring it to an elite level. That's something that I'm going to be working on.
He's also going to be working on keeping people out of his pocket. He's rich now.
And he's already fitted. Evan, thank you so much for joining us. Comes from a basketball family. Dad played in college. Mom won a state championship. You played with your brother. It's going to be fun to see you on the next level.
Thank you.
Congrats, Evan. All right.
All right, meanwhile, we're waiting for the NBA Draft Lottery to get started right here on ESPN, and obviously 14 teams are going to find out exactly where they'll be picking in the 2021 draft. And guess what? We got some special guests that are going to be there representing their squads.
It was a dream.
It was all a dream. Number 1 pick in 1984, Hakeem Olajuwon. Meanwhile, Miles Bridges, he's representing the Hornets. Hey, Miles.
Town, stand up.
And since we were talking about the Hawks, we weren't. Never mind. Let's just talk about a Georgia native, Anthony Edwards. He's representing the T-Wolves, the number 1 overall pick in the 2020 NBA. The NBA changed the lottery odds in 2017. The 3 teams with the worst records all have a 14% chance to get the number 1 pick. Those teams this year are the Rockets, Pistons, and Magic. Rounding out the top 5, the Thunder and Cavaliers each have an 11.5% chance to get a top selection. Phoenix Suns fans, they're not worried about it because their first rounder, Devin Booker, has been playing lights out for them. Already won them 1 game so far in the Western Conference Finals series against the Clippers. And, you know, there's a guy that works harder than us year-round. His name is Mike Schmitz. He's an ESPN draft analyst, and he's been doing his homework, due diligence, and looking at the top 5 prospects and the intriguing fits that they might have in this year's draft.
Thanks, Maria. So 5 of the most intriguing lottery fits. Let's start at the top with Cade Cunningham and the Houston Rockets. Cunningham, the best prospect in the draft. He can beat you from anywhere on the floor at 6'8". Put the ball in his hands, surround him with shooting and athletes, and he's going to be a star at the next level. Jalen Green and the Detroit Pistons, highly intriguing pairing. Explosiveness, athleticism, dynamic scoring ability, and nobody brings that to the table better than Jalen Green. He has the highest upside in this draft. Jalen Suggs and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, if they end up keeping that top 3 pick, he is a perfect fit alongside Anthony Edwards. They really need some defensive toughness, a winning mentality, a culture changer, and nobody does that better than Jalen Suggs. Evan Mobley and the Oklahoma City Thunder gives them incredible length, 7'5" wingspan, highly versatile, can switch 1 through 5, can handle the ball, can step out, can score on the interior. Excellent fit there with the Thunder. And then maybe my favorite of them all, Scotty Barnes and the Golden State Warriors. If they do end up with the Minnesota Timberwolves pick, Barnes is a match made in heaven with Steve Kerr. They love that small ball style. His spirit, his energy would fit perfectly in Golden State. Back to you guys in Phoenix.
All right, appreciate you, Mike. Working hard, obviously. Now, there are several scenarios in play with tonight's draft lottery. The Rockets keep their lottery pick if they land inside the top 4, but would drop to 18th if they do not. And the Warriors and Magic could also have 2 lottery picks by the end of the night, depending on how the lottery shakes out. And check this out, guys. Klay Thompson's dog, Rocco, he's the good luck charm. Okay, so remember, the T-Wolves pick will go to Golden State if it falls outside of the top 3. So Rocco, the Warriors need you. They would love to have another pick at the top of the NBA draft. But let's talk about the prospects. Obviously, Mike Schmitz was breaking it down for us, talking about fits and everything like that. But Jalen, when you think about this draft class, who is your favorite prospect?
And I know my guy, Coach Cal, mad at me. Bam, Kentucky. I know Cal, 25% of the NBA play for you. With that being said, how about, did you say Detroit Pistons might get the number 2 pick? They're a chance for the number 1 pick. From Detroit, right? 14% chance for number 1 pick, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Green. Mike Smith said he got the most upside. He played 1 G League playoff game. He had 30 points and 7 assists in that sole game. That's the guy. If we can't get, and I did say we, like Julia Taylor, if we can't get Cade Cunningham, I want us to get Jalen Green.
I would say Jalen Green, Scotty Barnes too, that Mike talked about. Crazy upside, crazy ceiling with his size, his length. I love Jalen Suggs, though. I mean, 6'4". I've heard a lot of NBA scouts use a name like Jason Kidd likes styles in which he plays. He's a headstrong player that can get to where he wants to go on the court at any time. A gifted scorer, brings defensive tenacity, but also he controls the pace of the game, Woj. Like, he has an NBA-type basketball IQ, and that's going to be special at the next level.
Yeah, and we saw him be very clutch in very, very big moments in the NCAA tournament. But you mentioned Jalen Green, also Jonathan Kuminga. Like, for the first time, we're seeing guys going that G League route through the G League Ignite team. Right. So how does that change the way that they're viewed by organizations, or how does that really change the draft process for these individuals?
Well, I think especially in the pandemic year, it was a great benefit for Jalen Green, Jonathan Kuminga to play in that G League bubble. And so, for example, Sam Presti, Oklahoma City's GM, he was able to spend 2 weeks in the bubble observing Green and Kuminga, see them against NBA competition, older professional players, see them on an NBA court with the NBA three-point line. And that's a much better feel and evaluation that he could have gotten than going around college basketball this year where it was harder to go and scout. And I think for the Ignite program, that was a great benefit for both Green and Kuminga.
And watching Baylor win the championship and the NCAA continuing to modify its rules to try to pay the players or have them benefit off their name, image, and likeness, you're just going to see more of this. You're going to see more players like LaMelo Ball going internationally. You're going to see more players like these guys coming out of the G League versus going to play in college.
There's a part of my mind that wonders, what if it all comes together for OKC? I mean, seriously, I mean, what, they have 16 first-round picks? Whoa,
18 in the next 7 years, 9 in the next 3, 12 over the next 4, potentially 3 this year.
If they're able to get a Kate Cunningham
in the league the last couple of years.
I mean, if they're able to get a Kate Cunningham, I mean, then you start dealing picks. I mean, it could be a quick turnaround. That'll done very quickly.
And Oklahoma City, because of all the picks they have, if they want to move up to get somebody, they have the arsenal to go get a player they want wherever they fall on draft night.
Yeah, remember, if the Rockets fall to 5, then OKC gets their pick, and then the Rockets would fall all the way down to 18. But if you are right now thinking about this draft class in general, Woj, how is it being described amongst owners and really different organizations?
This right now is considered a really talented draft class at the top and a lot of depth. There is a lot of belief among teams that they're going to be able to get better with this draft class. What will be interesting is some of the teams who are going to be at the top of the draft in the lottery, Houston, Minnesota potentially, Cleveland,
Orlando.
Yeah. Those are teams who I think are going to be open for business. They want to accelerate the rebuilds. So look at where some of those teams land in the lottery. They're going to be open to perhaps trading those picks if they can get all-star level players into their teams and try to speed up their rebuilds.
Go ahead.
I look forward to all the movement. I mean, you have a lot of guys, you know, I don't know if rumors are true, but like about Zion Williamson's family, about him wanting, you know, to potentially is being in New Orleans the right move. What kind of moves does David Griffin make? You know, so surrounding your talent as well with younger pieces, or using your draft capital to bring other talent to the table for your team.
We just need that Detroit Piston pick to stay in the top 3. Let's focus on that. Ben Wallace, our Hall of Famer, is now there. He's going to teach the young fellas how to boss up and say what up, though.
All right, well, your Detroit Pistons, they're right up there. They got some of the highest odds to get a #1 overall pick. We got the NBA draft lottery coming your way.
Let's go! Detroit basketball!
What is the latest update on Marcus Morris?
Marcus Morris, our Dave McMenamin reports, will play tonight. Clippers need him.
Wow.
Well,
a former Detroit Piston, along with Luke Kennard and Reggie Jackson, both playing in this series.
Somehow we've said Detroit Pistons way more than I thought we would. And this
no question
NBA countdown. Let's get you now, though, to the NBA draft lottery. Rachel Nichols, Jay Billis, Richard Jefferson on it, and you will hear from Woj at
37th annual NBA draft lottery, and what an intriguing one it is. I'm Rachel Nichols. I'll be joined soon by Richard Jefferson, Jay Billis here in Los Angeles, as well as Adrian Wojnarowski from the Western Conference Finals in Phoenix. And the star of the night, the lottery order, that will be presented from Secaucus, New Jersey. In addition, we're joined by representatives from all of the 14 teams hoping for that #1 pick here tonight. And let's get started by looking at our draft lottery headlines. The Rockets, the Pistons, the Magic, they have the best possible odds to get the #1 pick at 14%. But that still leaves plenty of room for other teams to jump into the mix. And there is a lot of star power worth jumping up for at the top of this draft class, including Oklahoma State's Cade Cunningham, Gonzaga's Jalen Suggs. Meanwhile, 3 big trades have major implications on tonight's lottery, starting with the Rockets, who could see the rights to their pick go to the Thunder if that pick falls out of the top 4. That was part of the deal Houston made to acquire the since-departed Russell Westbrook. Similarly, the Bulls could also lose their pick to the Magic if it falls out of the top 4. That was a condition of the Nikola Vucevic deal. And finally, as part of the Andrew Wiggins-D'Angelo Russell trade, the Timberwolves lose their pick to the Warriors if it falls out of the top 3, which means the Warriors could end up walking away with 2 lottery picks tonight. Woj, welcome in. What is the latest with Golden State?
Rachel, I think when you look at this lottery tonight, there are multiple teams, I'm told, Cleveland, Minnesota, Houston, who are going to be very aggressive if they're at the top of this lottery with perhaps putting those picks in trades to bring back young veteran players or all-star level players to accelerate their rebuilds. But the Golden State Warriors, they were in this position last year. Having the number 2 pick, they selected James Wiseman, and now they have a chance, almost a 70% chance, to be able to get Minnesota's pick and be potentially in the lottery twice. And I think Bob Myers, the Golden State general manager, he tells me they're going to be in the same situation as last year. If some great players became available and they can get an all-star level player to go with Steph Curry and the return of Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, that's certainly going to be an avenue that the Warriors are going to explore.
Thank you so much, Woj. So that's the Warriors side of things. The Timberwolves certainly hoping things play out, that they get the lottery luck and get to keep their pick if it jumps into that top 3 or maybe even number 1 overall, which is where they picked last year, acquiring fantastic for the Wolves this season, leading all rookies in scoring. And he joins us now as the Wolves representative tonight. Anthony, welcome. You had the experience of watching the draft lottery last year, knowing that how it panned out, you weren't just a spectator, it was going to have a direct impact on your life and your future, just like the top prospects we've mentioned are sitting around right now going through the same thing. So tell us, what is it like?
I mean, it's mind-blowing. It's kind of, you'd be kind of nervous just watching it to see who's going to get like the first pick, the second pick, the third pick. And after you see that, then you see where you is on a mock draft and you go from there.
Yeah, you start maybe buying a few winter coats in your case, that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure.
What was the biggest experience you had during your rookie year that made an impact on you and you can use in the future?
I think Ricky Rubio had a great impact on my rookie year as far as just being a leader on and off the court and, showing up every day ready to work and never taking days off.
Well, it certainly paid off. Congratulations on so much individual success this season. We will look forward to more team success next season as well. We appreciate you joining us.
Most definitely appreciate it.
Now, there's another team that could walk away with 2 lottery picks tonight, the Oklahoma City Thunder. And that is just the start of the haul of first-rounders the Thunder have. OKC just got another pick in their trade of Al Horford for Kemba Walker, because of course they did, which means they have 3 first-round picks in this year's draft. And if you add that to the mountain of other future assets they have, you arrive at the gaudy figure of 18 first-round picks, first-rounders they own over the next 7 drafts. Just incredible. Now, all of that is well and good for OKC, but the Rockets, of course, would prefer to keep that pick, thank you very much, which they will if it falls in the top 4. And no one better to represent the team than Hakeem Olajuwon, the top overall pick himself in the '84 draft, who, of course, went on to become a 2-time NBA Finals MVP. Hakeem, thank you so much for joining us. The Rockets, of course, going through a dramatic change this past season with James Harden leaving. What do you think is most important for the franchise as it sets out here on a new course?
Wow. I think we just rebuilding. We have a lot of young talent, but looking for that leadership, rebuilding is always very tough. But I think we're in a very good position for these draft choices. If we can get, we can protect our pick for the top pick in the draft.
We certainly wish you the best of luck, Hakeem, for getting that pick. Thank you so much for joining us. And I want to turn into the studio here. Richard, some huge possible swings of fate, right? We just talked about Houston, OKC, Minnesota, Golden State. But also fascinating is that what happens tonight can affect teams that aren't even in the lottery, right?
Yeah, famously, if you look at the Brooklyn Nets, they didn't have any pick for multiple years. But what they did is they made a very interesting move. You look back in 2017 when Lonzo Ball became available, and he was the Laker local boy. So then D'Angelo Russell, he became on the trade block. The Brooklyn Nets go out and get D'Angelo Russell. And like Woj said, it accelerated the Brooklyn Nets rebuild. So now all of a sudden you get D'Angelo Russell. He becomes an all-star. The team goes to the postseason, and then it becomes very inviting for big-name free agents to go there. You look at KD, you look at Kyrie. So even though they weren't directly involved in the lottery definitely affected their ability to rebuild extremely quickly.
So the Nets have a big three basically because that ping pong ball fell into the Lakers' lap there in that lottery years ago. Now that's the team side. From the players' side, though, Jay, who is on the top of your draft board that these teams that hope they get that luck are going to take?
You know, Rachel, one of the deepest drafts I can recall since I've been doing this, and the top of the list is Cade Cunningham of Oklahoma State. At 6'8", he is a point guard with extraordinary ability. He's got all the tools, a complete player, a playmaker, three-level scorer, shoots 40% from three. Next is Evan Mobley, the center from USC. He's a versatile defender and shot blocker, a pick-and-roll defending big that can switch out on guards. Number 3, Jalen Suggs of Gonzaga, an excellent leader, surgical in pick-and-roll situations, an elite passer, and can play on the defensive end of the floor. A quarterback in high school and shows it with his ability to pass. Jalen Green out of the G League, maybe the best scorer in this draft, at least potentially. And then Davion Mitchell from Baylor, national champion, the best individual defender in the draft, can get up underneath you, and he is explosive in transition, a much improved shooter that can knock down three-point shots. He may be small, but he's got a huge heart and can really play.
Small relative to other basketball players. I'm 5'4" over here, but sure. As luck would have it, two of those players you were talking about, Baylor's Davion Mitchell, USC's Evan Mobley, they will be joining us in the next segment. And last but certainly not least, Leon Newsom and Mark Dielli, they have brought the envelopes to the podium. So yes, it will be time to reveal the lottery order when we come back from this break.